Folks, I wish you all a welcome back. A welcome back to Toku Thrill. This great YouTube channel with so many videos on it that everybody knows about. Very popular products. Everybody's a big fan. This is Toku Thrill, the tokusatsu based collaborative YouTube channel, and I'm not alone, of course. With me is the wonderful, the amazing, the British Nightster.
Hello! Of course I am here.
And we are in my domain, folks. Last time a video was on this channel, it was a Sentai thing. We've come to the one that started it all for us little American boys, the Power Rangers. We're talking about the Red Power Rangers today. There's been so many Red Power Rangers, the Power Rangers television program. Which one are the best? Which one are the worst? We're not gonna do an absolute trash tier. I hate these dumb insular tiers. The which one's the best, which one's the worst, which one's the middle. That's what we're learning today. Are you
Yep,
ready to
that is how
start
tier lists
ranking?
work. I am.
All right. Jason. Come on.
Jason. We can't put him low. Like,
No.
he's a very good red.
You see, most
And he
most power
started.
most Power Rangers YouTubers would get here and put him in D tier right now because he's kind of not liked at the moment. The Austin St. John is not, but I when I rank characters, I base it on the character. So I don't
Yeah,
really care. I don't really care about Austin St. John selling Hitler quote sweatshirts. We're not gonna worry about that. What I do
yeah,
care
this
about
this
is
isn't
Jason Lee Scott. And Jason Lee Scott, the first leader of the Power Rangers, and I think one of the best. He obviously got a season and a half, and his seasons were long, whereas other Red Rangers are lucky to get like 40 episodes. So obviously he got more to work with, and that kind of resulted in him being better overall. But I think Jason's high quality, strong, not the best Red Ranger ever, but certainly amongst them. I would say he's S tier for sure.
I would agree, definitely. And there's not much for me to say that you haven't already said. He started it all, and he's just a solid ranger among the best.
Then there's Rocky, who, if this was a Blue Ranger tier list, I would be screaming S tier. But as a Red Ranger, he doesn't really get to do much.
Controversial take that might get me shouted at. As a whole, I do not like Rocky.
Yeah, I,
I just don't like him.
I can see where people get that because in Mighty Morphin he's so nothing, and like whenever they try to do something with him, it's usually the wrong thing. With a couple of exceptions, like I think the football episode was pretty good. There were a couple gems for Rocky. Rocky just wants to have fun was good. But overall, I think Rocky really did not come into his own in a way that was will to be appreciated until Zio. Like there's some Red Rocky stuff I like, but really when I think about it, that's just kind of retroactive because I know more about Rocky from Zio and like him for those reasons. So as a Red Ranger, certainly I think he's pretty low quality. I don't think he's D tier because there's some pretty awful garbage Red Rangers that I don't think he deserves to share a tier with. But C
Yeah,
tier I
no.
think would work.
Yeah, and that's fine with me.
Speaking of garbage Red Rangers he shouldn't share a tier with, hey Orico, guess where you're going, buddy?
Yeah, D tier man, you're gone.
Ain't nobody care. He's does not there. There are two alien rangers who are redeemable even a little as characters, and that is the white one, Delphine, and the blue one,
Healthy.
Sestro. The other three are literally no one. They're just suits.
It's literally just blank faces.
Then there's
Why are
Tommy,
they?
who I don't think we're gonna argue about what tier he goes in, but we might argue about who he's going above or not above. I don't know. What's your take?
See, Tommy has an unfair advantage. He was read twice.
Yeah,
It
but
was
the
Zio
second
and
time
Turbo.
sucked.
Fair point.
So
Hey,
I tend to ignore that one. But Zio though, I think
okay,
I I think Zio
if
Tommy is my favorite Red Ranger ever.
okay, if we're talking like if we're sticking with your theme of um as they're reds and not the other suits, unlike we did with Rocky, because if it was Tommy as a whole, I'd put him in S because he was green and
Oh,
white and
we're
black.
about to get into a screaming match, buddy. Choose your next words carefully.
But as a red, I do think he belongs in S. But I think Jason was a better red than him.
I can see where you're coming from on that. There's certainly a debate to be had. But I think Tommy, for me, Tommy's at his weakest. Tommy gets better over time until Turbo, where he takes a big nosedive because there's real life reasons for that. It's because Jason David Frank was kind of done with the show, but he agreed to stick around as long as it took to find him a replacement. So he just kind of was phoning it in, wasn't really showing up on set. Like there are a lot of episodes where he's suit only, or he's only in one scene out of suit. It just Turbo makes it seem like Tommy is just ignoring his friends and girlfriend to go race cars all day, and that's his entire personality. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But as the Zeo Red Ranger and as a leader in general, which this bleeds into the White Ranger as well, but it's more the the fulfillment of what the White Ranger was setting up through Zeo Red is that just like seeing Tommy, who was the first leader of the Power Rangers to really earn that position. Like and I think there's few that kind of fit into that category where Tommy joined the team as not the leader. He joined the team as just another member. Post being freed as evil, it's like okay, now you're our friend, but Jason's still top dog. And it took eventually it took his full arc as the Green Ranger, where despite just getting fucked over and over again and just losing his powers all the time, he still was the best Power Ranger he could be. And that performance is what convinced Zordon to be like, okay, this kid is more than meets the eye. He's our like golden goose, so that's why he makes the White Ranger powers, and Tommy becomes the new leader. And as the White Ranger, he has to kind of build himself up, learn how to lead a team. And I think that is fully fleshed out in Zio, where now he's in that slot there to stay. It's not uncomfortable anymore, and that's kind of spiritually represented by him being red now. Like he's not in a weird color anymore. He's just the leader of the Power Rangers as everybody knows them. And I think he performs extremely well. I think there's a lot of good character work for Tommy in Zio specifically. There's obviously the whole thing with his brother and the tribe that he hails
Yeah.
from.
Oh yeah.
I think Zio Tommy is excellent. He's my favorite Red Ranger of all time, bar none.
Fair enough. I mean, the only reason that I say I prefer Jason over Tommy as a Red Ranger and a leader is because out of suit, even before they were Rangers, you would look at Jason and think, "Oh, um, he's a jock, and he would be a jerk to everyone." But no, you see him going towards all of his friends, even the nerdy Billy, and supporting their strengths and showing them support on how well they do what they do best. He's
You
bringing
know,
out the best in everyone.
that is 100% a fair assessment of Jason. I agree with that, especially his relationship with Billy early on. I think that's really representative of Jason just being extremely like noble. I would argue that Tommy is probably what I would argue that Tommy is the same amount of noble, and that they're both one of few that really hit that benchmark. But I'm willing to, this is a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
As long as Tommy goes no lower than this, I am willing to put him below Jason, because you do make a good
Right.
point.
That's fair.
TJ, man,
I haven't
TJ
I haven't
is
seen.
you haven't seen TJ as red. Okay. So
Not by much, no. In a
TJ,
bit.
the thing about TJ is he kind of gets the short end of the stick, given he's only given half a season to be a Red Ranger. But in his time as Red, he is one of the greats, like 1,000%. TJ steps into that role. He's the direct successor to Tommy Oliver, and I think he lives up to that. He steps into that role. He's a great, strong leader. I think he's awesome. I think he's one of the best. Maybe he's not S tier amazing. There's probably a few more that I think would stand above him by a whole tier, Tommy and Jason included. So I'd say
Yeah,
he's probably a solid A tier, very solid Red
yeah.
Ranger. Unfortunately, didn't get much time to shine before getting sidelined, but very good.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And from what I've seen of him anyway, like he does seem to be very capable in his position.
Yeah, he's very capable. He's a good leader. I think he leads his team very well. And kind of a tall order when one of your team is Justin, kind of harder to lead. And I think he pulls that off well.
Ah,
Uh,
cool.
then there's Andros.
Red Space Ranger.
So people love this guy, but hot take, kind of mid, kind of mid. Not gonna lie, he's okay. I have
Mm.
no direct
I'd
issues
agree
with
with you.
him, but I don't think he's anything special as compared to
He's not,
others.
he's not bad, but he's not great. He's just
I think
a Red
he's
Ranger.
perfect middle of the road B tier would be where I'd put him.
Yeah, same honestly.
Leo D tier, bottom trash, garbage. Throw him out. Put him in the garbage can.
I put him in a garbage can. Take that garbage can to a rocket. Fly it into the sun.
Yes, yes. Leo sucks. Below Orco even. Get out of here, Leo.
Yeah, below Orico.
He sucks. He does not deserve his position even a little, and he just sucks the whole time. If you like Leo, I get it. He rips his shirt off in the opening. He's pretty shredded. I get it. He's not that great actually. Carter,
Got
no,
it.
Carter Grayson is an S tier Red Ranger. There's
I
no
was
way
gonna
around
say.
that. I
I
think
was
he's
gonna
lower
say.
than both that are in there so far, but he definitely is in
Yeah.
S tier.
Yeah. If you were gonna say anything below A at the very least, and that's a push,
Yeah, no, Carter is
and there were gonna be
definitely an S tier
problems.
Red Ranger.
There were gonna be problems.
He's he might be like the portrait of Red Rangers. Like if you well Jason. Like
Jason is like
if you had to be like
push,
you had to pick a Red Ranger to represent all of Red Rangers in general and it can't be Jason, Carter might be the one I pick.
and not. I'm Tommy then.
Tommy's a great Red Ranger, but like he's kind of his own guy. Well, so is Carter, but like fits in that like perfect Red Ranger box of just being like this extremely noble guy who just like is totally determined to help everyone around him no matter what it costs him. And like all Red Rangers are that to an extent, but like there's a certain Boy Scoutness to characters like Jason and Carter that is not present in other Red Rangers. That is good and I like.
Yeah, like and his relationship with his team, especially Dana, is impeccable.
Yeah, 100%. I think that whole cast chemistry is extremely good.
Yeah.
And Carter
I
is a good center of it.
I just love Lightspeed Rescue.
Lightspeed Rescue, honestly, I slept on Lightspeed Rescue hard. When I was a kid, I was like, this season seems boring. I tried to revisit it when I was like 16 or something, and I was like, this season is boring. But then I watched it like a year and a half ago. Chef's Kiss, extremely good. I was missing out.
It is really good. I I love the cast so much.
Did I not add Alex? Oh, I did, but I forgot to sort him. So
Mm,
Alex, D tier,
D
bad.
tier, like
Top of D tier so far. I think he's better than Orico and Leo, but he's D tier.
yeah, like it was only really there. I think
Like he was fine in the pilot, and then in the finale he was an absolute dick. Until I guess at the end he comes around, but like he just sucks like aggressively, and I do not forgive him for his transgressions.
I get the feeling that they only made the Alex storyline because they wanted to have um Wes's actor wear the Time Force uniform,
I mean,
even though he wasn't Time Force.
yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of Wes,
There he is.
now he's S tier, but is he better or worse than Carter? I think is the real question.
That is the question of the hour.
Because
Ah,
that's a
my
really tough matchup.
I have such a strong bias for Time Force because it really is an amazing season.
Yeah, Time Force, Time
But
Force
this
is
is
just like a cut above the rest in terms of like acting and character work, I think. I think I can give it to Wes over Carter.
yeah, same.
Not over Tommy or Jason, though. That's over my dead body.
Nah, I agree.
Eric.
Oh,
Eric's awesome, but is he S tier awesome? I feel like he might be top of A tier.
yeah, I'd say the same. Like his character growth, especially, is his strongest point.
Yeah, his character growth. I really like his relationship with that little girl with the birds. That's nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot with Eric. I love Eric a lot. I don't think he stands with the absolute greats, but I think he's really extremely solid.
Hmm.
Wes. We already talked about Wes. Cole.
Oh, um,
Eh.
D D or C.
I don't
I
think
don't.
I think D is rude. I think even C is rude to an extent. I definitely want to put
Uh,
him in B below Andros though. Like he's not
I mean,
amazing. He
I
kind of
can
comes
compromise there.
around for me. Like Cole starts kind of bad, but as the show goes on, I think he really comes into his own. And like he's not, I don't think he's A or S tier, but I think he at least earns B tier. Like by the end, I've come around on Cole. He's still he's still not as good as Taylor, and it makes you mad that Taylor's not the leader. But
Yeah,
I think he's still good. I think he's B tier at least.
I feel like if they could have done that, Taylor would have been the leader in that show.
She should have been, but
Should have been.
Cole did his best with what he had, and I think he ended up doing pretty damn good.
I do like the idea of him being like a wilderness man that's gone into a kind of city society. That I did like. So and with his growth down the series line, B tier is acceptable. But I just don't like Wild Force that much
Yeah,
as a season.
I understand. It's not Wild Force. My weird thing with Wild Force, I ended up liking it more than I thought I would by the end. Like I think it gets better with time, but Power Rangers is such its own thing. Like this is a hard thing to explain to people. I feel like Power Rangers is is formatted in such a way where it's not like a TV show would normally be. It's like its own weird thing, and it's extremely bingeable. And it just has this vibe. Whereas Wild Forest, for some reason, feels like a normal TV show, and it makes it feel off.
Yeah, if it feels weird to watch because you're so used to the format that the rest of the show has set out before it and
Yeah,
continues after it.
which
That's just like
I like it as its own little thing, but it does not rank super highly for me. But yeah, bottom
no.
of B tier is a good place for Cole, I think. Shane.
Shane is good. I like Shane.
Shane is good. I don't think he's S tier good, or neither
Mm.
is he better than any of what we have in A tier so far. But I think he
I,
belongs in A tier. I think bottom of A tier is a good place for Shane.
I can agree on that. I like Shane, but he's not as good as TJ or Eric.
Then we got Hunter, who is I don't
Uh,
dislike him for any discernible reason, but he's really nothing. I want to put him in C tier below Rocky. Like he's not D tier, but he's
yeah,
not the best.
I want to like him because I love the Crimson Thunder suit, and I love the whole. You know me. more than quite a few people. Um,
Hmm.
One thing I love in Power Rangers is evil Rangers.
Yes.
I love that trope so much. And Hunter and Blake weren't necessarily evil, but they had the whole Ranger versus Ranger thing going on.
Evil Power
So,
Rangers are always cool, bro. I will never forget. I gush this about to people all the time. Maybe you weren't around for when I watched Dino Thunder recently, so maybe you haven't heard me make this point. The scene where Evil Trent and Zeltrax fight over being like number two for Mesogog. And
oh,
Zeltrax knocks Trent out of his morph. And he's like, "Oh, I've got you now." And then Trent just keeps kicking his ass as Trent. It was
and then he's like,
awesome.
and then right at the end, he's just like, "I'll see you back at the lair, number 3."
Yes, so good.
Oh, I love Trent.
But speaking of Trent, we're on his season because Connor.
And,
Here's the thing
and
about Connor, okay? Dino Thunder as a cohesive unit is probably my favorite team. I think
yes,
Connor is one of the weaker links of that group. I think he's
he's.
great. I think he's solid. I
I feel
think
like,
he's either top of B or bottom of A. He's not as good as Shane. I don't know if he shares a tier with Shane or not.
see, and the thing is, Shane was always a solid red from the start. He was solid, but with Connor, um,
Well, Connor has to go through character development. He's a shitty teen. He just wants to play
yeah,
soccer. He's rebellious, so he has to come into his own, which I like. I like it's a show about teenagers. Of course, they're supposed to be teenagers with attitude. Connor actually had attitude.
yeah. I think for that reason, he deserves the A spot because he had to go through that development.
Yeah, I think he's below Shane, but yeah, he's still A tier.
Yeah,
Charlie,
interesting.
missed potential, not that great. I think she's C tier. Maybe she's
I
better than Hunter and Rocky. Maybe she's top, but I think she's C tier.
I will say top C tier personally because A, Evil Ranger,
Evil
which
Ranger good, true.
as I've mentioned, love them, and B, I'm pretty sure the first female red that we've ever actually got on screen.
Yeah, which is a cool thing for that to be, but it's just a lot of missed potential. She's not really a character. A
A lot
Squad
of missed
kind of
potential.
sucked, really.
That they did, and there's so much more that could have been done with them, but I don't know. I kind of liked the scenes that we did get with her, even though there weren't many.
She's the strongest of the A Squad. It's just the A Squad in general kind of was lame.
She's the only one that and we actually see talk out of her suit.
Yeah, so she's something, but not a lot.
Yeah,
Then
I
there's
say top of
Jack,
C.
who I think is S tier. I love Jack. I would
I
even put
agree.
Jack above Carter. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I think Jack is like close to the
Oh,
top. I don't know if I'd put him above Wes, but I think I would definitely put him above Carter.
yeah, my SPD bias is strong, so I'm happy putting him above Carl.
Yeah, I think Jack is an extremely solid Red Ranger. I love his personality. I love his character. I love the development he goes through. I don't like the end where
Yeah,
he quits SPD, but he's still a hero in his own way. He's pursuing his I would like to think because we never get to hear canonically what happens beyond the comics, which are their own canon. I would like to think in show canon someday Jack finds his way back to SPD. That's my head canon that I'm gonna live with forever. Because
yeah,
that's the one thing I disagree with. But overall, Jack was an amazing character, great leader, high quality guy. Overall. Now Sky, I like Sky. I don't
I
know if
do.
I like that Sky got what he wanted. I feel like it would be more character fulfilling if he didn't and had to accept that. So that's why, as a red, I feel like I want to put him a little low.
Especially because if we're sticking with our logic that we've been following, and we're not talking about his time in the series as a whole, and we're
We're
talking
talking about
about
his
his
time as the
time
Red Ranger, which
as
was quite
a red,
thin.
because he had one fight scene as red, and
Well,
then it was
we can use character because obviously they're the same character. It's just like moments we got to keep in the season.
yeah,
So
and
like
then there was that
Sky as a character is good, but I think it's not fulfilling that he gets to become the Red Ranger. I think it would have been more fulfilling if he didn't, and he gets almost no screen time as the Red Ranger. So
yeah,
I'm thinking B tier between Cole and Andros.
yeah. Even though I love Sky as a character in general.
Yeah, he's the whole SPD cast for me is like peak. I don't like the direction the show goes in plot wise, but the cast is maybe the strongest there's ever been.
Yeah,
Bridge, I like Bridge. I think he's fine as a Red Ranger. He explains it perfectly well how he's the Red Ranger. It makes
I
perfect
love that
sense.
scene so much.
He doesn't get much as the Red Ranger, so I don't think he's if he's A tier, he would have to be on the bottom, or he's top of
Yeah.
B.
Uh, I kind of want to put him in A, just because of um
I'm willing to. He's just got to stay at the bottom. I think that's a good
yeah,
place for him. Bottom of A.
bottom of A, because there's that Once a Ranger episode really highlighted a lot of um character in Bridge,
That's
and showed that
true.
he was still the same Bridge that we knew, but there was a tiny bit of growth that he got from being red.
Yeah, I think that is portrayed extremely well. Now we get to Nick, who I know you don't like. I'm more okay with him than you are. I think I would personally put him above Sky and B. Like I don't think he's quite as good as Andros, but I think he's worthy of B, and I think he's better than Cole and Red Sky.
A funny thing is, my opinion on Mystic Force is very similar to your opinion on Dino Thunder. With the whole, Mystic Force is my favorite team dynamic out of every single season. But the red, in this case Nick, is the weakest link.
That's fair.
And I would personally put him below Sky,
Okay, yeah,
but
I'm willing to make that concession. Above Cole, below Sky. That works.
yeah.
Honestly, you know what? Thinking about it, I really have a lot of like love for what they tried to do with Cole. I think he's below Cole. Like Cole was
Alright.
kind of poorly executed, but I think he had a lot of great moments. I think that Nick is the weakest of his team. He's fine, but like I was more invested in all the every other character except him more than I was him. He almost feels like he's like a video game protagonist. Like you're kind
He
of just
does.
supposed to project yourself onto him.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's just
Yeah.
he feel it feels like he's just the the Nick show. Is what Mystic Force feels like.
Then
It's
there's
based around
Mac,
him and his
which you've you told me the only episode of Overdrive you've seen is Once a Ranger, so you probably think all the
that's
Overdrive
correct.
Rangers suck because they all
I
quit
don't
in
think
that
that.
episode.
But
Okay,
I have no opinion on most of the other Drive Rangers, but
because I will say Once a Ranger, it's a lot of it is great. And I think this part is great too, but people misinterpret it and they make the Overdrive Rangers out to be like the shittiest Power Rangers because they quit in Once a Ranger. Let me tell you, okay? This is not the last. If this channel continues and we make more videos, this is not the last time I will go on this rant. Trust me, because the world needs to know you were tricked, you were lied to, okay? Because you weren't paying attention. Those those Rangers they did quit. They're the only Power Rangers that I know of that ever threw in the towel like all the way. But there's genuine reasoning for it. they don't quit right away like people try to say that they do. They lose their powers, they go and fight without their powers, and they get absolutely dog walked. And
That I
then
remember.
five legendary warriors appear and save them. And then Power Rangers God shows up and says, "Hey, I replaced you guys." So, so they literally
Yeah.
get replaced. And that's when they're like, "Hey, there are these other guys here. We're just kind of getting in the way because we don't have powers. They're the ones operating as the Power Rangers. So us just walking around here and doing nothing just seems to not be worth it." And that's when they quit. But then Mac finds something he can do to help. I believe it was like the Excalibur or something that will like help Sentinel Knight, like a sword they have to get. He goes and talks to Rose about this sword that he has to find because she's the smart one. And then Rose figures out what he's up to. Immediately the whole band is behind his back and they're together again doing stuff. The moment they find an actual way to help, back in.
Yeah.
So these are Power Rangers through and through. So this overdrive slander I will not accept. And Mac in particular, one of the best Red Rangers of all time. He's truly dedicated in a way that only few hit it as deeply as I think he does. His arc, his I love the fact that his character arc. So I assume you know the Mac thing. He's a robot. That's the big
Yeah.
choice of the
Yeah.
season
I
because
know that.
he thinks he's human and that he's a robot. And he has like a teen rebellion phase because he finds out he's a robot. He's kind of pissed at his dad for lying. So he's kind of like cold towards his father. But when it comes to power, his coping mechanism is to just be a better Power Ranger. Like too much so. Like he puts himself in danger too much, and that's the kind of he has to figure that out. But like that's he's so dedicated to being the Red Power Ranger that his coping mechanism for finding out his entire life is a lie is putting himself more into being the Red Power Ranger. He does not back down. Quite the opposite. He's super driven, a great character. I really like his the whole story. And I think he's S tier worthy. I don't know if he's above anybody we have in there so far, but I think he's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I Going by everything you just said, I'd say bottom S or top A.
I'm gonna say bottom S. If you're giving me that option, I'm putting him in there.
Yeah. All right.
This is my big hot take. People are gonna complain about this one in the comments, but
And I
Mac
can't really argue
Mac
because
good actually.
I've only seen that one episode, and I do remember everything that you described exactly as you described it. Like they didn't give up; they were forced into that position, and Mac was the one who got them back on their feet.
Exactly. So yeah, Mac is the best, and you're all wrong.
I love Casey.
Casey's very good. I have some. I'm just not as into Jungle Fury as everybody else, but it is good, and Casey is definitely one of the best Rangers. Would be the best if it wasn't for RJ being a Power
Yeah,
Ranger.
RJ is
Um,
best character.
but Casey, very solid Red Ranger, has a lot of very strong character moments I quite enjoy. I don't know if I like him better than Mac, but I feel like I'm willing to put him in S tier still, just bottom.
Yeah,
Very strong character, very solid Red Ranger.
so did I.
The Crow Royalty's gonna light me up for that one. Casey below Mac, but then then there's Scott, who,
That's
hey,
the
remember
guy.
that thing we said about Dino Thunder? Hi, Scott.
Oh, that the whole
I think Scott is
good
the weakest of the RPM team. It's a
good
good team
cast,
dynamic, but I think he's the
good
weakest link.
good cast, weakest link. Yeah,
He kind of gets overshot. He's not even. You see, most Red Rangers are the main character essentially. Even in the seasons where the focus is split correctly, there's still at least somewhat of a focus on the Red Ranger. He's the leader, so he's the main protagonist basically. It doesn't feel like that in RPM because basically Dylan is that.
yeah. I like how Mystic Force was the next show. RPM was the Dylan show.
Exactly.
because had all of the stuff with him and his sister.
I think there's an official like Power Rangers like card game or tabletop game of some kind. I don't know all the details on this, but I just heard about this vaguely that has Dylan as like the top billing for RPM, which is really funny if it's true.
I'm not surprised though.
But yeah, I think Scott. You see, Scott is still solid though. I think RPM in general is a cut above the rest in terms of like writing for its characters. I probably like him more than Andros. I would say top of B tier maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, do I like him more than Andros? I feel like I'm too mean to Andros. He is like one of the most important Red Rangers in history.
Mm,
Eh,
maybe maybe between Andros and Sky.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Andros is also the weakest link of his team, I think, besides Zane, but he's a sixth ranger, so that doesn't count. Out of the main five, he's the weakest link, I think, but he's still extremely important. And In Space was an extremely good team in general, so
and well, Scott didn't do something as insane as
it literally kills
um
Zordon. Yeah,
kill literally kill Zordon, and in the process purge the entire planet of evil.
yeah, pretty big achievement on Andros's part. Jaden, garbage trash can, not as bad as
The
Leo, but almost.
between Leo
Probably
and
better than
Oracle.
probably better than Orico actually. Not
All
as
right,
good as
top D
Alex
tier.
though. I would like Alex a little more. Lauren.
All right, fair enough.
Lauren, on the
I
other
like
hand, I like her a lot.
very
She
good
doesn't
red.
get much, but I still think she's extremely solid. And then Insularity Material after has kind of fleshed her out a little bit more. I'm a fan. I think she's an A tier above Bridge, below Connor.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I feel like they would have had more of her if there was more footage of Kaoru in Sentai.
Yeah, that's kind of a Sentai footage barrier there. Troy, is he better or worse than Leo? That's the only question we have to ask.
Worse.
Worse, you think? Okay, yeah, you're right.
Screw Megaforce and especially
Leo is
Screw Troy.
fine sometimes. Troy
If
sucks all the time.
can we just make a whole new tier just called Fuck Troy and then just put Troy in there? Because like words cannot explain how much I hate this character. He's so bad.
I've created a bottom tier called All My Homies Hate Troy. And now Troy's in there.
Yeah,
Tyler. Very good.
very.
Is
I
he
like
S
him.
tier good?
That's a hard question.
You see,
I feel
Eric, no, TJ, I think is the barrier for me here. I'm willing to say he's better than Shane. I don't think I'm willing to say he's better than TJ or Eric. Like he's pretty good, but Neo Saban still a little bit poorly acted in places, unfortunately. By fault of the directors, not him. The directors literally told the Power Rangers not to act during the Neo Saban era, which is hilarious. Um,
and
so
his actor is still very into his character because he's even over the past few weeks he's been making videos about his time as a Red Ranger.
yeah, I think he's great. I think he took what he was given and really pushed it. I think he really what sold the Tyler for me, like mm, to an insane degree, was him accepting his fate in the OG in the season one finale, where him and Sledge are falling out of the ship, and it's like, well, shit, I got him, but I guess I'm got too.
Yeah, that hit hard, and I did like the story as well of him and his dad. I feel like that story gets slept on quite a bit, but
Yeah, I don't like his dad himself as like a Power Ranger. If you were
no,
ranking extra Rangers, he would go pretty low. But Tyler's relationship with him, yeah, was a good storyline.
yeah, which I'm sure we'll do one day.
So yeah, I like Tyler a lot. I'm trying to think. Maybe he's better than TJ, but I don't think I can give him above Eric. I think he's between TJ and Eric.
Yeah, maybe.
Time Force is just so amazingly acted as compared to Dino Charge, which was acted as well
It
as they
is.
could without the directors telling them to stop.
Yeah. I, re-
2017 movie Jason.
oh, I haven't seen that film in a long while.
So my thing about the 2017 film, the worst part about that film is that it's a Mighty Morphin thing. Like literally, these characters are not who they say they are, even a little bit.
Wow.
If you just gave them new names, I would have no problem with the movie. Zero.
Wow.
I like that movie, but why are they those characters? Because they aren't.
Okay, so we have on record um footage of you saying that you don't like that something is a Mighty Morphin thing. That is
Exactly.
rare.
Yes, I know. Because they didn't make it a Mighty Morphin thing. Because Mighty Morphin is about more than just the fucking dinosaurs. It's about the characters, and these are not
Yeah.
those kids. They're different kids.
And what was that whole deal with with Rita as well?
Yeah, Rita's very different too. Everybody's very different. Goldar doesn't even have a personality. He's just a monster made of gold, which was a terrible decision if you were gonna call him Goldar. But
And Alpha was just Bill Hader.
that's true.
In,
That's funny
in a,
though. That's a good. And Zordon was Walter White.
yeah. I do like
But
Bill Hader though.
if I separate it from my annoyance that his name is Jason as his own character, I think he's probably once again. I think he's the weakest link of his team.
I think he's all
No,
right,
besides
but
Zach. Zach was nothing in that movie pretty much. Jason was kind of something sometimes. He's good. I would say he has more merit than anybody who we have in C tier. But I don't think he's better than Nick. So he's either top of C or bottom of B.
yeah. I I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't want to be too mean to him. I think bottom of B is appropriate.
Yeah, bottom B.
I like him fine. Brody,
Brody.
not great.
I'm not a fan.
You see, I think he's better than everyone we have in D tier right now, but he's worse than Hunter. So is he top of D or bottom of C?
I'd put him in C, I think.
Okay.
Bottom of C.
Then there's Dane, who I haven't really seen, and you've seen Ninja Steel. How do you feel about Dane?
Dane is we see very little of him. Uh
Oh no!
well,
I think we just lost our whole tier list. So next up is speaking of. Let's get back to Dane. So Dane, sorry about that, folks.
we're back.
The list isn't sorted anymore, but it's still sorted on Night's End, so we'll still do it in order. So Dane.
Dane. Okay, so we don't see too much of him that I can remember from the top of my head, but he was a solid father figure to Brody. I personally like him more than I like Brody, but I don't know if I like him more than Hunter.
He can live with his son, right above his son. That works.
Yeah, I think that's fitting.
Then Mick. Good old Mick Canick, who, he doesn't spend much time as a Power Ranger, but he's
Uh,
a delightful character, and the time he does spend as a Power Ranger, I think, is very good. And he gets to do
and
it
he's
again in Cosmic Fury, too, which is nice. Um, I like him a lot. I don't know how you feel about him.
I really like him because of his actor. He
Yeah, of
finally got
course. Kelson Henderson
he
finally got to be a Power Ranger, yes.
like properly. Like he had a bit of time as the Orange Ranger in SPD, if that counts, but
I think it would
That
be
that,
unreasonable to
that
put
was a
him above.
dream.
I think it would be unreasonable to put him above anyone in A tier who actually did a lot of things. I'm willing to put him above Lauren in A tier, above Lauren and above Bridge.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I like him.
And then we have Devin.
Devon, yeah. Beast
He's
Morphers
he's
Red.
pretty good. I think that team, the rest of that team, kind of suffers because of how great Zoe is. Like it's hard for the rest to
Yeah.
compare. But I think Devin's pretty solid. I have no issues with Devin. I've only seen like 9 episodes of Beast Morphers, so there's probably a lot that I'm missing with him. But so far he's been extremely solid. I would say B tier. But I
Yeah, question is where in B tier?
think he's better than 2017 Jason. Probably better than Nick. Is he better than Cole? I don't know if he is.
Hmm. I'd say, despite me dogging on Cole earlier, I wouldn't say so.
Okay, so yeah, below Cole, above Nick.
Yeah.
Then there's Zato, who is not D tier bad. I think he's C tier bad. He's not great.
He really isn't.
He's definitely the weakest link of an otherwise I think great team, personally, in my opinion. And he just whoever this guy is, what's his name? Russell
Uh,
something, Russell Curry maybe.
Sakura here.
Not
That's
a
the actual
great
name.
actor, it seems. Not, I'm sorry, but it's not good. I don't think he gets better over time, but not enough.
Okay, here's my thing though. I like um this guy as a character, but I don't like him as a red.
That's
Like I feel
fair.
like if he was any other color, or if he wasn't the leader,
Well, I was about
I
to
would
say
have.
eventually he is, but not at the
Yeah,
beginning.
I I would have liked them.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish he was acted a little better, and I think that he was not the right decision to play red on that team, and they eventually agreed with us and decided to not have that anymore. So
Oh,
yeah.
I've got an AFK again. I'm being called for.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. I'm back. Sorry.
Welcome back. Hope you do edit this video now. It's a bunch of silence too.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit it.
Zato is going in probably C tier.
Yeah,
Um,
where in C tier?
Fair. He's not as good as Rocky. That is as high as I will give him as below Rocky. I don't know how you feel about him compared to the other three.
Mm,
Steve Cardenas was at least charismatic.
I don't think he was better than Hunter.
That's fair.
And mostly because I like how Hunter was acted as well.
So above Dane, below Hunter.
Yeah,
Then there's Amelia. Queen, hero, definitely S tier. I don't know if you would
S
disagree with
tier.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, good.
I would not disagree. That's S tier all the way.
But where?
Where in
She's
S
got
tier?
some titans to be ranked against.
Is she better than Casey?
I think she might be, but that's like as high as I go. You have more
Okay.
attachment to Casey than I do, so you could probably argue against it maybe.
I would say that she is better than Casey.
She is
I
better
do
than
love Casey,
Casey?
but
I don't
I
think
do
she's
love
better than Mac,
Casey.
which you don't have a dog in that fight. I assume you don't think she's better than Carter. Or do you?
Oh, I like both of them. That's a
Okay,
hard fight.
I think Jack is definitely the stopping point. I don't think she's as good as Jack. I think that's 100%.
Yeah.
But is she better or worse than Casey, Mac, and Carter? Better than Casey. I'm willing to surrender Mac, but do you think she's better than Carter though?
No.
Okay, that's
I'm
fair.
I'm sorry, but Carter's like as I said when we ranked him, h- how he was with his team was just amazing. Which is the same for Amelia. She was really good with how she was with her team, but
So yeah, I'll put her above Mac and below Carter. So we get the final list. You want to give us a little recap? Right.
okay. Well,
Oh, you closed yours?
I've not closed mine, but the thing is, I didn't download a picture of Alex, so I don't know where we put him.
He's at the bottom of D tier. Or no, the top of D tier.
Okay, so our list. The absolute worst, bottom of the barrel is Troy.
Yes, all my homies hate Troy.
All our homies hate Troy. And then D tier, from worst to best, we have Alex, Leo,
Wait, you mean
Orico.
worst to best would be Leo, Orico, Jaden, Alex. It's reversed.
Oh yeah, Leo,
Yeah.
Orico, Jaden, Alex. And then from C tier, worst to best, is Brody, uh,
Dane.
Dane. Yeah, I think of the name. Forgot. Zato, Hunter, Rocky, and Charlie. B tier, worst to best, we have 2017 Jason, Nick, Devon, Cole, Sky, Scott, and Andros. A tier, worst to best, Bridge, Lauren, Mick, Connor, Shane, TJ, Tyler, and Eric. And S tier, the Titans of the Reds are Casey, Mac, Amelia, Carter, Jack, Wes, Tommy, and Jason.
There you go, folks. That's the definitive Red Ranger ranking. You disagree? Then you're wrong. See you next week.
Bye bye.